You are listening to the Love and Confidence Podcast, episode number 138. Welcome to the Love and Confidence Podcast. If you're a woman who wants to feel more irresistible, have more fun, and create deeper and more authentic connections, this podcast is for you. I am your host, certified life coach Lærke Nielsen, and I help you become the best and most confident version of yourself so you can attract the love life you desire. Let's get started. Hey there. Welcome back to the podcast. Today is going to be a short episode where I will share with you some of the traits or behaviors that will tell you that a person is securely attached. So this is basically some really big green flags that you can look for. But not only are they green flags and things you can try to recognize in a potential partner, it's also what you want to strive for yourself. Those are some simple, basic things that you want to make sure you master yourself in order to be more secure. And it's actually very simple because it's only 4 different areas that I will share with you. 4 different traits or qualities in a person. So if you're the kind of person who tends to lose yourself a little bit in a relationship, then these areas are something that you will want to work on. And it would be good for you to prioritize this in a partner, to find someone who masters this in order to create a healthy and secure relationship. But before we get started, I just want to remind you of all my free guides that you can find on my website if you haven't signed up for any of them yet. So you can go to lærkenielsencoaching.com, and in there is a page called Freebies. And you will find a lot of different free materials in there. At the moment, I have a love confidence quiz where you can check out where you are on the love confidence scale. This is a quiz that has 33 questions, so it's pretty long, but it doesn't take more than around 10 minutes to do. And you will get an idea of where you are on the scale of being secure and confident versus insecure and anxious. And basically, the idea is that you can take this and then you can decide to work on yourself. For instance, you can decide to use this episode as a guide to what are the areas you want to improve and you want to up-level in your life. And then you can go back and take the test again in a month or two and see if something has changed. And there's also on this side different guides that will help you to work on different areas in your life. One of them is 7 steps to a joyful life with or without a man. This is also something you want to prioritize if you feel that you are not typically a securely attached person. Working on these 7 areas will help you a lot to become more secure, become more resilient and more stable and more balanced in your life, and also be more secure inside a relationship. Then I also have the guide called How to Meet Men Outside the Dating Apps. For those of you who ask yourself, where do I meet a good man if I don't want to hang out at a bar late at night and I don't want to go to a nightclub where everyone is 20 years younger than me? Where do I go? How can I start this? Because I'm working from home and it's not like when I was a student, it was so easy to meet new people. Now I don't even have colleagues that I meet. So where should I start? This is the guide for you. Go and sign up for that to get some inspiration, get some ideas on how you can go out there and meet men in real life. And then I also have the guide called How to Be Interesting, which is a guide for those of you who sometimes tell yourself, maybe I'm not that interesting. Maybe there are other women who are more interesting than me. Other women live lives that are more interesting and they will be more interesting to go on a date with. This is a guide for you to help to feel more relaxed in who you are and to be interesting in a way that always works, which is to be interested, to ask questions, to listen, and to just allow yourself to be who you are and remind yourself of what are the things that you actually like to talk about on a date. So a guide with some practical tips, a lot of mindset tools, and perfect for you if you feel sometimes you would love to be more interesting and you maybe are a little bit critical towards yourself. Then you want to go and sign up for this guide. So when you sign up for more than one guide in there, I recommend you use the same email address, because once you sign up, you are on my list and you will receive my newsletter. And if you have signed up with different emails, you receive the newsletter several times. So just use the same email every time, and make sure to check your spam filter. If you're wondering, where is the guide? I signed up for it, you didn't receive it. You have to check your spam filter. Unfortunately, sometimes these emails land in the wrong folder, and you discover 6 months later, or maybe you never discover. So go and check that as well if you feel something is missing. And if for some reason you didn't receive the guide and it's not in your spam filter, then please reach out and I will send it directly to you. All right, so that was enough for all the free stuff. Now let's get started on the 4 traits or qualities that will show you that a person is someone who can be a secure partner. The first one is a person who masters interdependence. And this means that he is someone who is able to rely on a partner and also rely on themselves. So they can allow themselves to lean on someone and also to be leaned on. And this person, of course, they're influenced by their partner. They're not completely ignorant to whatever's going on in their partner's life, but they still have themselves a stable inner core that allows them to keep the balance, so that they don't completely shift into the same energy as their partner all the time. They master the art of autonomy and togetherness in a nice balance. So when you are together, you sense that they are 100% present, but they are also that when they are with their friends or when they're doing something on their own. They are not mentally another place than where they are physically. They don't have a mind that's somewhere else. And they are able to both give and receive. It's not that they only give, or they only expect to receive. They can do both. Now, this, of course, can be maybe a little bit difficult to recognize with someone who is single, because you can't see how they interact with a partner and whether they are able to be interdependent. But you can sense that sometimes in the conversation you have with them. You can sense whether they are hyper-dependent, whether they expect a partner to be like a really big part of their life and to be the one who decides the direction of their life, or whether they don't want to even ever think about moving in together and they want to stay hyper-independent the rest of their life. You can sense in the way they talk about that whether they are able to have that balance. Then it's a person who has a good life satisfaction. And that means that they understand that we are all ourselves fully responsible for our own happiness. And we all need to have other sources of joy and fulfillment in our life, other ways to have adventure and fun and so on than the relationship. They have a rich life with lots of activities and lots of other stuff going on than dating or relationship. And that is actually a really big green flag. Someone who has that. Of course, you don't want them to not have time at all for a relationship. But if you meet someone and they tell you they have a lot of interesting projects, they go out with friends, they have fun, they go traveling and so on, and they have a passion or a job that they feel is very meaningful to them, that's a really big green flag. A relationship is not their all and everything. It's an addition to their life. And this also means that they're not afraid of being single. So someone who's actually thriving in their single life and still wanting a partner to add to their life, that's a very good sign. Now, this, of course, is even better if he lives a life that is aligned with your values, that there isn't a conflict between your different lifestyles. For instance, he's not a digital nomad and you are someone who wants to stay home and be in the same city all the time, for instance. That wouldn't work even if he has a good life satisfaction and you have that too. You need to be sure that your lifestyle is aligned. Then he's also a person who has healthy boundaries. He's not afraid of setting boundaries. And that means both with friends and family and at work, and even with a partner. Because this will allow him to stay in a good balance and be present in a good energy. When we lack boundaries, we build resentment and fatigue and exhaustion. And we also have a lot of rumination. So you can sense that someone isn't really present because they don't have the energy and they are resentful for having violated their own boundaries or said yes to something they didn't actually have the energy to. So even setting a boundary with their partner or a dating connection and saying no to something because they are going to go out with friends, that is actually a healthy sign. And then the last part is communication. This is where you sense that you don't have to guess how things are and what the other person is thinking or what they meant the other day when they said that. There's a clear communication, and this also fosters trust. So it's not like someone says something and then the other still doesn't trust that they are telling the truth. And they are not scared of being vulnerable and sharing personal information. And this, of course, does not mean sharing a childhood trauma on the very first date, but in general, it means speaking about their fears and their dreams is something that they are not afraid of. They also have a very constructive way of communicating, so they will seek solutions instead of putting the blame on someone else. Their interest will be finding a solution, not shaming or judging someone else. They would rather find out what is the way forward in case of a conflict. And so you can also turn it around and see what are the things that it is not. What are the signs that someone is not securely attached and is maybe struggling to have a secure relationship and that you want to avoid. And that you also want to look at if you recognize some of this in yourself. If someone is afraid of being single and they feel less valuable as a single person, if they look for a relationship to give their life meaning and fulfillment, and they don't have that already. If they depend on a partner to feel good about themselves and feel good about their life, or if they suppress themselves instead of speaking up when there's a disagreement, if they rely overly on a partner and they feel a little bit lost alone, that's also not a good sign. Or someone who is not very excited about their life in general, but they don't see themselves as being in control of it. They don't see that they have the power to change it. It's almost like it's something that has to happen to them and come from the outside. Or it could be that they struggle to set boundaries and they exhaust themselves to make other people happy and sometimes wonder when are they going to get rewarded for all this self-sacrificing, which of course ends up making them feel resentful and bitter and exhausted. And it's someone who often feels that they are not enough. They can be overgiving and they struggle to receive. And then they have a dream of a partnership being something that fully absorbs them. Like they do everything together and they align all decisions together. And it's almost like there's not much time separate and not much autonomy in that relationship. These are signs that someone is not securely attached. And if you recognize some of this from yourself, it's a sign that you want to work on this. You want to become more secure to feel better yourself inside a relationship. So this was all that I had for you today. I hope you found it useful and I want to thank you for listening all the way to the end. And I will be back next week again. And in the meantime, feel free to reach out. Ask me any question you want or tell me if there's something you want to hear about on the podcast. Have a wonderful week. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast and you want to get support from a coach on your love journey, I invite you to book a free consult call with me. You will find the link in the show notes. And also, don't forget to subscribe, and I would love it if you would rate and review this podcast, and then you'll also help other women find it.